Control from Team 4, over.
That black line is a linear feature. There's actually something there. It is actually something there. So you can finally get that's where we get given the...
Team 4 about to start search of Area 4, over.
When a call out is taken from the emergency services, we will immediately deploy the control vehicle. There are three main roles in the control vehicle: the search manager, the search planner, and search operations. The role of the search manager is to coordinate the search, both from an internal perspective within the team, ensuring that we gather all the information and it is shared into the search planner and search operations and subsequently down into the teams. Also, they're the main focal point, liaison point with the police and the other emergency services as new data becomes available. The search operations manager, who's also in the control vehicle, will ensure that the teams are deployed to the appropriate area, be it water teams, foot teams, dog teams, ensuring that they are utilised to their full extent, and also we can call in other resources as required during the search, especially if it's of extended duration.
So that can involve tasks such as briefing the team leaders on the missing person profile, allocating resources to tasks such as areas, route and paths, drones, water searches, bank searches. While the teams are out searching, they're identifying risks. So they're identifying major bridges, major bodies of water, major roads, anything that could cause harm to the team or identify risks. And those risks are logged.
The search planner is a third role in the van and is one of the key roles to ensure that the teams are deployed to the right area.
The search planner follows a predefined process, gathering critical information about the missing person that helps form the direction of the search. It enables them to put that information onto a map, mapping sectors most appropriately required for us to find the missing person.
We need to understand what our searchers are searching, because we're making bold assumptions based on a map that could be up to 5 years out of date.
The search planner will use statistics based on a number of sources from around the globe. These relate to different types of missing people. These may be missing people living with dementia or living with mental health conditions, or children maybe with autism, or a whole variety of different conditions which may have affected why they've gone missing. These statistics will include their likely find locations and also the distance they may have travelled as they've moved away from their initial planning point.
Reviewing all the missing person data for trying to decide if we categorised it right, or if there's another element that we've missed, or if we can fit them into another category that might give us some other details that might give us a different area.
Once a team has found the missing person, they make a priority call that is received in the van. We will then task the most appropriate resources and medical equipment to ensure that missing person receives the fastest, most appropriate medical care, as well as ensuring that the emergency services are called.
Oh, wow. Noise. When I say noise, I mean the constant interruptions of people asking them information, obviously the comms, the radio comms, keeping up to date with what the police require, what the fire service require, whoever maybe we be working with. Forever changing landscape in respect of they might get some new information from the police, and that's got to be shared with the teams, keeping up with where the teams are, knowledge of who's on site and who's not on site, where the teams are. Yeah, quite a demanding role for the small van load.
The job's definitely complicated by being on call. You know, you might be having dinner with your family, finishing bits off at work, putting kids to bed, and suddenly you're at an instant with life at risk, and there's somebody out there whose chance of survival is dropping by the minute, and all of that gets amplified in control. You've got all the noise and all the chaos and all the confusion and all the information coming at you just being magnified in that little box.
Initially, I think the hardest part is getting the search on the road from the call out to deploying those first teams into the search area, because it takes everybody a different amount of time to get there. Quite often it's the search manager or the planner that's perhaps taken that call out. So they've already got an initial amount of detail, but they've still got to get from A to B, and they can't do any work in that time. So when you first get to the control site, you've got a lot of work to do, getting everything set up, getting your team in place, making sure they're briefed, getting your first sectors planned.
Chaos, it's organised chaos, it's good. So we turn up to a search, all the teams turn up, so in the period where everyone's turning up, setting the van up, the planner's jumping into the seat, they're making up the plan. I'm trying to put people into teams on whether they are a team leader, whether they're a medic, whether they're good at comms, trying to have an equal balance of all the teams across, so when they're going to go out into an area, they're equally balanced and suitable and fit enough to go and do that job.
As the search progresses, the search planner continues to review information as it comes in, both from the predefined process as well as information that's coming in from the debrief sheets that teams have completed. The direction that a search takes can change direction very quickly and from minute by minute to enable us to ensure that we find the missing person as quickly as possible.
There may be additional information coming in, such as clues or items of clothing which are located by some of the foot teams or other teams which are out. In addition, there may be investigative inquiries which the search planner may ask for and will liaise with the police. These may include CCTV or other sources of information which may be passed to and from the police search advisor.
And I think as well, depending on the length of time a search goes on, so that initial getting the search started can be very frantic, and
Absolutely.
then you'll have a period that feels a bit calmer as people trickle in and you're able to plan a bit more calmly and do a bit more strategy, and you can get people out. But then the longer you go on and the more areas you tick off and you haven't yet found, that's when your mind starts ticking and you start to feel the pressure.
Absolutely, and you've got the resources coming back, and T says it's this constant refreshing of ideas, but also knowing when to just go, right, stop, let's go right back to the start. We get a few of us together, and this can either be on the phone or sometimes it's done days later in a room. Right, what was the initial information? What was the response? Have we done everything we need to? Right, based on that, where do we spread out to? What other information's come in? So we will, at times, totally strip a search down. Certainly some of the ones that have gone on weeks, we'll sit in a room maybe 2 or 3 weeks later and take the search right down and look at every decision, every job, because it's about how do we find this missing person? Have we not found them because we've missed, or have we not found them because they're not there?
Or they're not, they're way outside of the search parameters, where we would expect to find them.
So it's challenging, and it's...
And I think, you've got to have some resilience as well, because as much as every searcher, and particularly for those that find a missing person, we all go through a process. As a search manager, I've never been in a find team, so I've never come face to face with our missing person at that find moment. But that doesn't mean I don't carry every single one of them that I've managed in here somewhere.
I think we get a deeper understanding of the MISPA. Like, I've been on searches where I've had to read through the diaries of someone that's receiving mental health treatment in a hospital, so someone that's been sectioned and forced to be in hospital, going through their diaries, their innermost thoughts, to try and get that clue as to where they are. Because ultimately, our role is to get the teams in the right place to save a life, and the more information we can have, the better equipped we are to do that. But that comes at a price for us, because we're reading things and getting heavily involved with family and colleagues that really we should be trying to keep a distance, but you can't, because
you want to get into the head of that person.
And it's someone's life. Like, ultimately, if we don't get the team in the right place, someone dies, Sometimes we turn up in time, we find them, we get them away. Other times we don't. And as a search manager, we have to live with that. We have to live with the decisions we made, which sometimes may delay the search or delay us being in the right place because of the information we're working on. Sometimes the MISPA is just nowhere within their common behaviour patterns or the search stats. So we're sort of doing our best to play catch up.
And I think the last thing that I would really say about search management is that responsibility to be the decision maker, because everybody on the team's making decisions. The team leaders are deciding how they're going to search sectors. The search tech is deciding how many times they look up, round and down. They are how many times they turn around. Everyone's making a decision about how they go about their bit of the search. But at the end of the day, the buck stops with the search manager. There's so many decisions, and you need to be able to step up and take those decisions, and other people have confidence in you doing that.
There's no hard and fast right and wrongs about how you deal with it. There's obviously healthy ways and there's obviously destructive ways, but you know, everyone's different and we all have different ways of dealing with it. And again, just because some of us don't feel, you know, what's called the highs and lows doesn't mean we care any less. We're just doing it differently and we're processing it differently. And that's what makes the team work.
Certainly the suicidal we can get in the heads of, we can understand, but the mental health is it's quite erratic, and it's kind of saving people that don't know they need to be saved. And I think it's sort of the community at its best, coming to help the most vulnerable people at their time of need, and we're lucky to be able to do that, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, my motivation is very much about contributing to a wider team effort for the good of individuals. And I think what Lowland Rescue does is very unique. There's nothing else like it. It's very different from Mountain Rescue, although it's very similar. And I feel privileged to be part of that and to be able to offer some skill to that, and I think I get a lot out of it. I think most of us do, you know, in terms of teamwork, the skills we learn, you know, the collaboration.
I think the highs are the highest highs you have ever experienced.
You can't.
The M1 search where the 6-year-old boy was found.
Yeah.
I have never experienced a find like that. Conversely, some of the finds that haven't made it have been the lowest points of my life.
Yeah.
It's a real roller coaster, but you're actively making a difference to the community and ultimately to a family. And that can be one person or it can be hundreds of people. And what we do really makes a difference, but it's not something we can talk about too openly because of what we do.
Yeah.